Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to use this cursed image of Lightning McQueen from the movie Cars. And I'm going to explain 3 techniques that helped me get A's in engineering school, only studying 2 hours per day. And I'm not even kidding. So that's what I want to go through in this video, 3 tips that make Lightning McQueen fast and how you can use it to get better grades. So first of all, I want to apologize for this creation here. I want to apologize to all Lightning McQueen fans because I don't even know what I'm looking at here, to be honest. But it's a car. If you can't tell, it's a car, and cars go fast. This guy is fast. So we're going to learn from him. And I want to get you to the point where you're sitting in the library with all your friends during exam season. It's lunchtime, and you're sitting there watching YouTube because you're done studying for the day. You study that fast that you get all your studying done in the morning and you can chill for the rest of the day during exam seasons. And I can say this because that was my experience. I would literally go to the library with my friends and I would feel so bad that I was sitting there just chilling that I would literally pretend to study so they didn't feel bad. Looking back, I should have flexed on them way more, but I'm going to get you to that point where you can flex on all your friends. So let's go through the 3 methods here that I'm going to teach you. So before I start, I just released a deep work module in my online community below. So if you want more personal help from me and you want to learn a ton about deep work and how to focus fast, check out the first link in the description. But let me get into it. My first tip I want to give you is Lightning McQueen. He races, by the way, he's a race car if you didn't know. He does laps and pit stops. So if you don't know what that means, basically Lightning McQueen, he's a race car, right? He's on a racetrack and he'll race, and every time his tires break and he needs to fix his tires, he'll go to a pit stop here, and he will get brand new tires. So what does this mean? This means as students, we actually do the same thing. We study in laps and then we need to take pit stops. So this goes way deeper than you think, but I'm going to explain it through, essentially, your body has this thing called the ultradian cycle. What this means is your body's energy, your ability to focus, actually goes up and down in cycles throughout the day. So it changes depending on the person, but essentially, every 90 minutes your energy goes up and then back down. And then 90 minutes it goes back up and then back down. Throughout the day, it goes into these up and down motions. And so why am I telling you this? Basically, it is scientifically proven that the most optimal amount of time to focus for is about 50 to 90 minutes. Any more than that, and you are honestly not focusing to your best ability. So the first tip I want to give you is make sure your laps, your focus times, are only about 90 minutes long. Any longer and your focus is being drained. That's the first thing. The second thing is make sure you take pit stops. Make sure you take breaks. If you're not taking breaks during your study, then you're going to burn out. You need to take breaks every 90 minutes. When your energy starts to drop every 50 to 90 minutes, that's when you need to take a break of about 5 to 20 minutes. So how do you take a break? What do we do during the break? Well, the break needs to have 2 requirements. Requirement number 1 is it needs to not be emotionally salient. So what that means is you don't want to do anything during your break that triggers your emotions. So that means no social media. Because when you go into social media, you start looking for stimulation. You start reacting to things you see. You see some exciting things. Your friends post these things, you feel bad. And when you start reacting emotionally like that, it takes your focus away from the thing you are doing. Because when you take a pit stop, a 5 to 10 minute break, your mind is still in focus mode. You're still focused on the thing you are doing. Even though you're not directly doing it, you're still actually in that mindset. Just because you're taking a pit stop, it doesn't mean you're out of the race. So when you go take a 5 to 20 minute break and you go into Instagram and you start looking at a bunch of different stuff, your mind leaves the context of the work you were doing and it pulls you into another world. The problem with that is that when you then come back to the race, there's this thing called attention residue. So attention residue is basically where your attention is still somewhere else. So you come back to your study session, but your attention is still a little bit remaining in the social media, in the thing that triggered your emotions. So it's going to take you about 20 minutes to bring your focus back. So if you want to make sure your break is as optimal as possible, make sure it's not emotionally salient. That's the main thing. I know I said two things, but that's pretty much the main thing. So what can you do during your pit stops, during your breaks? Take a walk around, do some stretches, get a quick snack, anything but social media, but phone. So that's the first tip I want to give you. The second tip I want to give you here is Lightning McQueen loves music. Now, I want to be honest here, I haven't really seen the movie Cars in a long time, but I know there's a famous song from that movie called Life is a Highway or something like that. So Lightning McQueen loves music. Now, I want to tell you something here about music that will help you focus. So the research out there actually says that music actually affects your focus negatively. But I'm going to actually tell you something different here. But just real quickly over the research. The research basically says that if you listen to music, especially lyrical music, while you're studying, it pulls your attention away. So it's pretty clear that music is not good for studying. But there is one exception that I want to go through that I have to mention. So after looking at a bunch of different creatives, a bunch of different professionals, and looking and studying all their different learning habits, I've noticed that there was one interesting habit that many of them actually had. It was that before they focused, they would play one specific song or playlist on loop. And what that would do is that would allow them to drop into a state of focus way more easily. Now this sounds weird, but I actually remember that I used to do this a lot back in the day. So I really liked movie soundtracks, like Lord of the Rings, Interstellar, all these weird movie soundtracks. And I would pick like one song and literally just loop it over and over and over again. And what it does is it's so familiar to you that it doesn't actually pull your attention away. Now there is one thing I want to mention here. Whenever I tell students that listening to music will destroy your focus, they always have some kind of excuse. Because students cannot live without music. And I guarantee if you're the type of student who can't study without music, then you're the same type of person who can't shower without planning an entire playlist for your 5-minute shower. You're the same person who can't go and do laundry without needing a soundtrack playing in the background. So forget about the fact whether music affects your study or not. There's actually something deeper going on here. Why do you need music in the first place to study? Why do you need music to do something basic? Like why when you go take your rubbish outside, which takes like 10 seconds, why do you have to, quickly put on your music so you can go listen to music while you do it? Why can't you just do it with, the world, if that makes sense? So that goes a lot deeper here. And actually, that's a good connection because that relates to the third point that I want to mention here. So third point I want to mention here kind of relates to that. Basically, Lightning McQueen is a car, as we know, and a car has wheels. So what's the problem with being a being with wheels? It might be a pretty miserable life, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to assume. But what's the main problem with having wheels? The main problem with having wheels is that you can't use this rectangular device right here. This device that we all have in our pockets. You can't use your phone. Now, how is this related to music? Basically, you need to understand that the reason you can't focus is because you are way too overstimulated. Now, this goes way deeper than you might think. I'm not just going to mention, everyone talks about this online, but hopefully I'm going to give you a new perspective that you've never heard before. Sorry for my terrible handwriting, but it says stimulated here. So the problem is, because you can't even go outside without needing music, because you can't shower without needing music, because you can't go to bed without having a video playing as you fall asleep, because you can't even get out of bed in the morning without first reaching for your phone and scrolling on YouTube, because you are so addicted to stimulation, when you go and sit down to study, your brain seeks that stimulation. And because your brain seeks that stimulation, when you sit down and you face the boringness of your studies and it's not being stimulated, your mind goes flying everywhere. It might daydream, it might go there, it might go there. And if you're very, very unlucky, he'll get so frustrated, he'll make you stand up and go do something else. So overstimulation is a massive problem in the modern day. And I'm not going to give you the advice that you hear online where they say, stop using your phones, turn off your phones, delete your apps. At least for me, deleting Instagram doesn't work. I just re-download it and I just scroll again. So I'm going to give you a solution here that will actually help you permanently fix this overstimulation issue without actually deleting anything, without removing anything from your life. And it's a concept called boredom tolerance. So your ability to withstand boredom is your superpower. If you can withstand boredom, then you can study and you can focus well. Because if you can withstand being bored, that means you can withstand not needing stimulation. So the solution I want to give you here is to actually train your ability to be bored. Because what is boredom? Basically boredom is a signal that our body and our mind give us that we need stimulation. When you get bored, your mind is basically telling you like, bro, no, come on. We need to be stimulated. We need novelty right now. We need meaning. We're so bored. This is so painful. And look, boredom is literally probably one of the most painful emotions you can feel. Like, getting stabbed, getting punched. There's so many different painful experiences we can have as humans. But boredom is literally so, so painful. When you're in class that is so boring and you just want it to end, boredom sucks. It's really, really painful. But here's the thing. You can build your boredom tolerance like a muscle. You can get to the point where, there was memes that I saw back in the day. It was like, just raw dog the flight. I just sat down in my seat in the flight and I just stared at the wall for a 20-hour flight. Look, I guarantee you can get to the point where that is easy. For example, if you told me to go sit down in a room for an hour and do nothing, I would literally be okay with that. I have built my boredom tolerance to the point where I can sit down in a room with nothing and just be okay existing. Because your boredom tolerance can be improved. And I promise you, if you improve your boredom tolerance, your focus will also skyrocket. So how do you do this? Basically, what you need to do is you need to take a period of time during the day when you normally crave stimulation, and you need to purposefully resist that stimulation. Every time your brain pulls you to do stimulation and you resist it, that's like 1 rep for your boredom tolerance muscle. So I'll give you a couple ideas here. Number 1, meals. Eat your meals without needing YouTube playing in the background. Eat your meals. I know you watch YouTube while you eat your meals. So what you can do is maybe during lunchtime, you tell yourself no YouTube during lunch. Okay, next, showers. Now, many students, they'll listen to music while they shower. There's this whole concept of shower thoughts. Bring shower thoughts back. So maybe shower you can use as an opportunity. Literally like any chores. Literally just going for a walk. Anything where normally you would crave stimulation. If you resist stimulation during that time, even literally 10 minutes, then you will boost your boredom tolerance, which will help you focus deeper. I guarantee. Boredom is literally a superpower. The ability to be bored is so rare in the modern day, but it's so, so powerful. All right, I'm going to give you guys a bonus. Oh, what the lights. Alright guys, so as a reward for staying to the end and paying attention, I'm going to give you guys one bonus technique that I think is so, so powerful for literally not only studying faster, but also as a little bit of a fix against procrastination. So by the way, we teach all this stuff literally about boredom, about emotional resilience, everything, mental health in my school below. We literally have a mental health coach in there. And we're in there every day helping you guys. So check it out if you're interested. But the final bonus tip I want to give you guys is called the, let me see if I can spell this here, the Zeigarnik. Sorry for my horrible handwriting. I never really learned how to handwrite properly, and I very rarely handwrite these days. Actually, no, that's not true. I handwrite all the time. I just suck. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Zeigarnik effect. So the Zeigarnik effect is a really interesting phenomenon. So it actually still relates to Lightning McQueen. So movies are really good because they end with cliffhangers. And why are cliffhangers so powerful? Basically, cliffhangers are so powerful because they create an open loop in your mind. They make you curious what's going to happen next. And when you open that curiosity loop, when you have this unfinished business, it pushes you, it motivates you to go watch the next episode. Netflix series do this so well. They keep you hanging on the end of the episode, so you've got to watch the next one. So literally, what you start noticing it everywhere. It's a really good marketing technique where you literally keep people hanging, you make them curious. So I'm going to teach you how to use the Zeigarnik effect to literally double your focus and never procrastinate ever again. Right there, I just used the Zeigarnik effect to keep you on your seat, to keep you on the edge of your seat. Anyway, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Basically what you do is you leave an unopened task at the beginning of your study session. So what does this mean? This means that if you're about to study or you're thinking about studying, just start. Now I know this sounds obvious, but I'm going to break down exactly what to do. But as soon as you start studying, it opens up that loop that I talked about, and it makes you way more likely to continue. So let me tell you practically how I do this. So when I think I'm going to study, when I know I'm going to study, I literally just go into my computer and I open the document. I literally just write the title of the thing that I'm about to write. And then I literally just stand up and go do what I was about to do. Get water, go to the toilet, whatever. And what this does is it kind of opens that loop in your mind where you're kind of like, wait a minute, I just started this task. It kind of feels uncomfortable. This is why when you're at the end of the day and you have like a to-do list that you haven't completed, it can often like play in your mind. Like you're literally trying to sleep and you're just replaying the task that you have to do over and over in your mind. Just start. Literally write a couple bullet points for the thing you're about to do. Literally just open your document, open your textbook, and then go do something else. So what I do in the morning is I do meditation, and then immediately after, I begin my deep work block, but not without getting some water and going to the toilet. So literally when I'm done with my meditation, I won't even think. I'll open up my document, I'll put it awake on my computer. And as I'm getting water, as I'm going to the toilet, I notice my mind is like starting to process the thing I just opened. And it's like, oh, we've just opened that document. Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It starts to kind of work away at the thing that you're going to do. So this is why literally the hardest part of studying often is just starting. Now I know this sounds like common sense, but just start. But look, I guarantee you often probably lie down in bed and you don't even start because you've got such high expectations. You're like, oh, there's no point studying right now, bro. There's no way I can study for 3 hours. It's so much. I'm just going to keep scrolling until I feel like studying. And then eventually, like 2 days later, you get out of bed and you start studying because finally you've got the motivation to do 3 hours of studying. But what I'm telling you here is you don't even need to do 3 hours. You just need to start. So if you can get yourself literally just started, get yourself literally doing 5 minutes, it will literally open an entire level of motivation inside your brain that you didn't realize. So often we think that we need motivation to take action. We get motivated and that pushes us to take action, right? But actually, it's often the other way around. It's often that action gets us motivated. So if you're lying down in bed, scrolling on your phone, and you're wondering why you're not motivated, it's because you're stimulating yourself, like we said earlier. So if you start by taking action, you get out of your bed, you literally just do like a couple minutes, you go to the toilet, you are in a completely different state. So you need to think of it like states. So when you're in bed scrolling, you're like at the lowest state. You're not even motivated. But then let's say you get out of bed and literally just splash water on your face. Okay, you've moved up a state. Then let's say you begin your task, you open up that Zeigarnik effect. You're in another state. And I guarantee, once you've started your task, you've literally just started, your motivation is going to be way higher. So, okay, from this elevated position, let's say you decide, actually, yeah, scrolling right now is actually a good idea. Fair enough. But at least you've taken the decision from a higher state. Right? This is why there's a rule that people tend to use when they can't consistently go to the gym. They'll tell you literally just go to the gym. Get changed and go sit down in the gym and do your warm-up. And when you're sitting there, warmed up, the weights are right there, you're way more likely to do your workout. Compared to when you're at home thinking about the workout. Oh, I can't do a whole workout now, I'm so tired. Oh man. If you just shut off your brain and literally just go to the gym and work out, and warm up. Once you've done the warm up, then decide if you want to do the workout or not. You've done the warm up and you're like, actually, I still don't feel like going to the gym. Fair enough, but at least you've taken the decision from a higher point of motivation. So one of the best habits you can actually implement is the habit of taking action. Literally, if you feel unmotivated, if you feel terrible, just go take a walk. This is why people always say, go take a walk, go take a cold shower, just get out of bed. Because when you change your state and you start moving, motivation often follows. So that's it. Thank you for watching. To learn more about deep work and everything to do with your mind and studying, go check out the link in the description. I guarantee you'll get a ton of personal help from us. That's it. Goodbye.